Hey everybody, Handler Chris here. Just wanted to pop onto the front of the episode and say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate or celebrated. I hope it was well and awesome, and we hope you guys enjoy this next home session. We're going to have two more, an interview, and then we're going to hop into Misha's campaign, which we're very, very excited for you guys to hear. So that's all I got. We'll see you next week. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for another home scene, and today we are going to be focusing on the one, the only, Georgie Draino. How you doing, Cody?
Doing great, yeah. Pretty fantastic. I just had to replace my mailbox outside.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my back hurts. That's where I'm at.
Did someone hit it, or
No.
it just was crappy?
I guess, yeah, just those wood beams, those 4x4s, just degrade, like they kind of get wet and get moldy over time. So I think that was probably in play for like 10 years or plus or something. So just time to replace it.
Yeah, I remember when we first moved in, like we had this plastic shell on our mailbox, and it kept just like falling off. So I had to like screw it into the post to make sure it fit. And then, obviously someone hit my mailbox a couple weeks ago, so I had to go buy a whole new mailbox and, concrete and really set it deep so that if they hit it again, at least it will fuck their car up, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we wanted to do. We actually bought a metal, shaft thing, and then, it just didn't work with what we were doing, so we're like, crap, alright, so we had to get a 4x4, but, yeah, definitely want to make a iron fortress for sure.
Oh, you guys are a little bit off the main road, too. If someone's coming down there to, fuck with your mailbox, you did something to them, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
shitty kids. So, okay, well, your home scene is probably going to be a little bit different than everybody else's, because at the end of the last, I guess we'd say, I don't want to say session, but at the end of the last mission, you decided to take the gold piece of Nazi gold. And one of the side effects to that is you think everybody's out to get your gold, so you become like a little bit of Gollum. And we ended with you stabbing a guy with a knife in a Waffle House, which fits for a Waffle House. Like that feels like a natural thing that could occur in a Waffle House.
Oh yeah, 100%. And while that was just said, I just want to kind of give a little bit more context, just in case people weren't. I forget if I gave much during the time, but it was basically like. Shit was hitting the fan, and I'm not I built this character doesn't have a lot of gun skill, and so he's a scientist, and so he's like, all right, I got to be able to defend myself somehow. So I was thinking in my head, and I totally am down for cursing me like this, and it backfired for sure. But I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, maybe I can use this either throw it at him and have him touch it. Because maybe I was thinking in the case, maybe it wouldn't affect you or whatever. So I was like, oh, I'll open the case and he'll catch it or one of those things where oh, hey, here, take this. And then you lob it at someone and then instinctively they catch it or whatever. Or just put it somewhere and have them grab it. So I was like, okay, this could be cool. I don't know because it's also possible it didn't have a curse and it just was whatever, nothing happened. So I'm like, all right, this could go a lot of ways. I definitely expected this, that it could just curse me, but I figured it was the lesser of the likely scenario, so that's why my character grabbed it. He also didn't know it was Nazi gold. I think that came up after, wasn't apparent. I don't think the Nazi symbol was clear. Yeah. So just to be clear to everybody, I didn't know it was Nazi gold. All right, that's been said.
Yes, Draino is not pro-Nazi.
Yeah.
Just in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really ask you. I'm going to assume that this would kind of snap him out of it in a sense, the action would happen and then he would kind of come to after murdering this guy with a table knife.
That's what I imagine too. He completely recoils and then is completely lucid after it's happened.
So I think we see him fleeing out of the Waffle House, getting into his car, driving away. I don't even know if he gets into his car. Maybe he just runs.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I kind of was wondering, do you think, knowing that you are possessive of this gold, he would go back to his family? Or do you think he would just, like, start a new life and just, like, you know, like, what do you think his mindset would be going into that?
So, I mean, I see Draino as being a pretty wholesome guy. Like, I played him thinking that he was in Delta Green, and I know we're not great people, but he wanted to do right by people as much as possible, even if the ends justified the means sometimes. So in this case, if he's just, you know, at this point he's confused, you know, right? Like how this happened, and when it's happening, he can't control it, and so he's starting to wonder like how much of a threat he is to others. So yeah, I'd say he absolutely would try to seclude himself, but I think there is an escalation I think he would do if it became even more of a problem after that. So he would, because like it's super, like he would be so sad that he can't go back to his family, but he knows he can't go back to his family. So he would do something probably to make it as, you know, easy on his family as possible. So whatever that means. So if that means he has to like fake his death to make sure they get like enough like compensation money or something, or like if that he had to basically tell them, like, so there's two parts to this. Financially, that's what I was basically just alluding to, or the other side, which is like making them not feel abandoned. Like he would want them to know that he didn't just abandon them. So he would either fake his death for that way, like he died in duty or something bad happened. So that's what he'd be looking to arrange probably.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure this out. Like, I'm assuming this would make the news, at least the local news. I don't know if it would make the evening news.
Good point. Yeah.
But I definitely think that it would definitely, there would be some heat. And so what is his willpower score, if I might ask?
So yeah, his score was so all of his stats were 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
perfectly average.
Willpower. Okay. So
so I forget if
that
willpower
times
is
5 would be what?
60.
60? Okay.
Yeah. But he did take some willpower hits like during the
yeah, but you usually regain that like as you rest.
Okay.
Okay, so I am willing, as we kind of sit here and talk, because I mean, obviously we didn't really talk about this beforehand, because that's just not really how we do it. Like, we live in the moment.
We're doing it live.
So I was going to say, if you got some dice, let's have him do a willpower roll and see if, like, as this all settles, he can, like, throw this gold somewhere or something like that and kind of forget about it and go to his life, or if it just consumes him and, like, he's stuck there with it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you can either do it for me or I'd go grab dice. I didn't think that far ahead.
I can do it for you. I got some dice here. Hold on real quick. I got my lovely stone dice that you guys got me for Pathfinder here.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here we go. We're rolling for Draino to see if he can overcome the power of this gold. You, sir, rolled a 22 under 60.
Damn. Okay,
so you critically succeed on this. So I think that's enough to where because it says the basic premise of it is if you spend at least 3 hours with it or are within 10 feet of it, it consumes you.
Oh, wow.
So I think there's like a moment after all of this where you kind of snap to, and I don't know if you like lob this gold piece or like, how do you think he gets rid of it to like get it away from him?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he would definitely, I don't know. I think that if I can, this is tough. Because I really wouldn't want someone else. I mean, containment, you know?
Right, exactly.
If I can get it into the water, I'd probably, knowing me, being a water aficionado, okay. If I can get it there in the water, I would try to bury it. I would just try to weight it down.
We're driving from Washington to the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
I forget where we said he stopped off at, but let's see. Let's see if there's a river or anything nearby.
Yeah.
You drive around Well, I guess, are you getting in your car or are you running? What was your plan?
So I guess I would try if there was people near my car, then I would
there were
probably
people that saw it happen, so that I figured if you tried to leave, they would definitely take down your license plate and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my only. I was kind of the one thing I would get you with is like they're gonna see you get in a car. I'm gonna roll to see if they see it. So
right, it's like either way, it's kind of bad. So I guess I would have to take my car because no matter what, my car is gonna be trace of my person when that gets investigated. Right. So I'd probably have to risk it and try to get in my car.
I'm gonna roll it here and see if anybody notices. Okay, you maybe it's just like everybody is still shock and awe, and they're running over to get to this guy, but you're able to get to your car and peel out of there and get away, and you're pretty sure no one saw your license plate number or anything like that.
Damn, I'm getting
so. And I rolled a 46 under 50 for your luck to find a lake or something like a river, and so I think that's kind of the shot we see is Draino pulling up, just lobbing this gold into this river, and then driving off, getting home. I still think there's a lingering there. I think he thinks about it every once in a while, and he's able to suppress it, but I like that idea of, maybe on, a failed sanity check or something like that. Or, maybe it arises if we bring back Draino for another game, if he loses sanity enough, he'll actively start trying to hunt this out again. Buried in the recesses of his mind, he remembers this exact spot.
Right, exactly. Oh my god, I love that too. Yeah, because that the fact that he freaking killed someone like that, that would snap him out of it. Luckily, in this case,
So then I think we get to your home scene. What do you think he'd want to do? Would he fulfill responsibilities? Would he get back to nature? Establish a new bond, go to therapy, improve a skill or a stat. There's some sort of personal motivation he wants to do, special training. I don't think stay on the case. I don't know if he wants to try to figure out more about this creature that they got. I don't think he has it, but yeah. What do you think? What do you think he would do?
Yeah, tell me more about the fulfill. Is it fulfill a responsibility or just or is it just essentially doing right by his family, focusing on his family or something?
Yeah. So if your agent focuses on the day-to-day obligations, relationships, describe something the agent is doing at work or at home to support one of the bonds that he has, other than the bond with Delta Green. You're going to roll a sanity test. Success improves the bond by 1d6 up to your character's charisma score. And a critical success also adds 1 sanity up to your power times 5 roll. A fumble means that something disastrous happens. Maybe basically you end up reducing your bond if you fail a critical failure. So
gotcha. Yeah, no, that sounds that sounds like what he would do. He would want to repair his bonds because he did damage some of them, and he's a family man, so he's gonna try to repair that.
Okay. What is your sanity score? I can roll it here for you.
Yeah, so my current sanity is, I think it's 47 here, yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, I rolled an 80, so he does not succeed, but you don't critically fail. Yep. So you don't add anything, but maybe he's a little lost there for a little bit, like a fugue state, or if he's going to his kids' sporting events or going shopping with the wife of them, he's not fully attached there. Maybe it's just one of those things where you catch her kind of asking you a question a couple times that you snap to, what are we talking about? You kind of losing time.
I see it like a failed attempt at reconnecting with his son or daughter or her wife. One of those things where you try to reach out and it just misses because I think he's been gone a while, so it's they've had to that separation definitely makes it hard to just all of a sudden reconnect. Even if you're trying, it takes time and it takes the right moment. So in this case, it just didn't connect.
Yeah, and I think maybe there is that there. Maybe you're not necessarily cold to them, but you're distant. So that's where we saw the damage bond play out that you took was maybe there's just a little lingering of doubt. How old were his kids? Did we ever establish that?
No, but I think I see them as we got a 12 and a 15, I'd say.
Okay, so yeah, like maybe like the 50-year-old, what like you offered to help him go take his driver's, teach him how to drive and stuff like that, and he's like, "No, man, it's okay. Mom's got it handled. Like, go back to whatever you got going on. I know it's more important." Kind of like little snarky shit like that kids do.
Poor Draino.
We all had.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, exactly. It's like we're all like that at the time, and then we're all like, "Why are you like this?" when we get older?
Right. I had that happen where I took Ricky to a cookie decorating class at the YMCA, and it's not even like baking the cookies, or making like the frosting. It's literally just decorating a cookie. Like there's no false advertising. But as I was there, I reached like a new level of not giving a shit anymore. Where like I'm actively just reading the Traveler Core rulebook in YMCA while Ricky's in this class, like. Just reading like this big chunky ass rule book, just like, oh yeah, okay, well that's how you do it.
That's amazing.
But anyways, there was these like kids there that were probably like 12 to 13 range, just like sitting around me, and like every word out of their mouth, they're just like, "Man, fuck this shit, blah blah blah. Yeah, I told that motherfucker, blah blah blah. Fuck that kid." Like, "Oh yeah, man, that's bullshit." And like they're just like cussing up a storm, thinking they're cool as shit.
Oh my god.
And I'm just like, I was like that one time. Like, I'm not gonna like shit on these kids for the way they're acting, because I know 100% like I was that shitty of a kid, right? Like at that age.
True. Yeah.
And like, but it just made me laugh. Like thinking back, I was like, "Fuck, I was really annoying." Like if that was me, I understand why people around me would be looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot. Like,
so true.
Thankfully they got up and left, so I could go back to reading about skills, because that's more important than whatever dumb shit they were talking about. But yeah, so well, I'm glad that things worked out for Draino. I really liked how like upbeat and positive he was. Like you said, it very much felt like he was a go with the flow, and he just wanted to get the mission done. And I like the dichotomy of you coming with acid reflux at first, who was very paranoid and like, I wouldn't say scared of everything, but mistrusting, versus Draino, who was very much just like, "Yeah, that's what we gotta do. Okay, cool." Like almost like I don't want to say like a puppy dog, but he was very much like, "Okay, we're on." Yeah, he was on board for whatever needed to be done.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a good point. I didn't honestly do that intentionally, but that makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, like Reflex wanted to control everything. He wanted to have everything on his radar, and then like Draino was more exactly like. He's obviously he's important. His family's important. He wants to get the job done, and he was focused. But it was more like far more laid back, and like a different. It's like a different approach to attentiveness, where he was still paying attention, but much more like my persona is more like I'm looking at stuff. I'm laid back doing it, and much more trying to make things more cordial. Maybe even as a way of dispelling fears and like making this. Calming everyone else down. He wants to be that presence. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely felt like he was much more of a face this time, where like he was the one that could talk to like people and not be suspicious. Like I think Agnes and Essex were very suspicious through it all with their like keeping secrets and a lot of that stuff. And it felt like but it felt like Draino was kind of that bridge between them, where it's like they could be that, and then he would be like, "Well, this kind of thing," and like kind of bridge it to Carmine or whoever, and kind of keep that uneasy tension of like, can Carmine find out what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, the dynamic worked out. Yeah, it's like none of that was planned, but it's interesting to see that, like, in that case, like especially Agnes, that escalated. Her personality developed significantly, culminating up till this point, and so it definitely worked out.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I was really impressed. So I guess transitioning from our lasting shots of Georgie Draino here, moving forward to just kind of general questions. Is there anything that you wish you could have done more with Draino in the third mission? Like, do you feel there was anything that you wish we had explored more, or that was kind of underdeveloped with him? I know we talked about wanting to do like more character stuff, but I never really hit a point where I felt like it would make sense to whatever was going on. And so I apologize for that. I don't know if there was much you wanted to get out about him, but I feel like I did kind of a disservice by having this new character introduced and not really getting people to know him very well.
No, I think that's immersive. In a way, I think that's kind of like you learn the character by seeing them do the things rather than just being told exposition. So I think that's actually kind of cool sometimes.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I was a little nervous. I was like, Like, I know we talked about it, like, wanting to do, like, before bed, like, having him call his kids and stuff like that. And I think we had a couple scenes like that, but it's like, well, I don't know how much you wanted to get across with him to the audience, and I don't know if I gave you enough opportunities to do that in a sense.
Yeah.
So
No, I totally think it was actually great. I think that it's a push and a pull. Like sometimes you want to come with it with like a strong initial impression, with like a a starting scene or this or that. I think it's good to like mix it up. It's like sometimes you go with the flow and like build it in real time, and like sometimes you want to establish that. So I think in fact I might that sets me up for like next time maybe I want to like go for a certain character and like have like good first impression and like with a little bit of exposition and stuff.
Right.
So no, yeah, that was totally fine. But yeah, no, as far as opportunities and like things that maybe I wanted to focus on more, I think it's one of those cases where, as usual, the character solving the mystery and just navigating all of those things you set up, all the different people, locations, events, leads, it's like, I think, we basically you just do your best, but like that's basically all I would want is just like always trying to like pull out that answer, pull out those good decisions through the personality of the character you're playing, and so in this case it was like, he was a scientist, so like I like the focus on, you gave me a good focus on like the creature that was eating the brain of Shannon or whatever. I think it was Sharon or Shannon, and so like I think that was a good time to shine, especially
you did a great job of that.
Yeah, like that was awesome. It was like, all right, let's take a look. Let's dissect this. Like what through the eyes of a marine biologist. What how would you react to this? And like and we discovered a lot of details too. And I really liked the interrogation scene with one of the cultists where we were able to show him it. I think that was like a super good scene where all those factors came together. It was like the creature had already developed. We had the cultist to like show his side of the story of like how is he reacting and what and the way that he was predicting. He's like, you don't even know what's coming. You don't even know. And then plus Draino like watching that happen and being able to ask him questions. So I don't know how intentional, like, or how intended some of these golden path scenes are, where you're like, yeah, this scene's happening, or just, oh no, it just happened this way. But like that was a really good one. Honestly,
yeah. Most of it was just me, like I said, trying to get like I wanted to have the creature there, and then when you picked marine biologist, I'm like, well, this is perfect. Like this lines up exactly with what like I had intended. So. I wasn't sure how big of a part the creature would play, but obviously you picking a marine biologist, like, okay, well, this is clearly going to be something to focus on and make sure it's important.
Oh, that's awesome, yeah.
And as for just the cult, like, at that point, they knew it was coming. They were all aware of the plan. And so I think there was the overconfidence of them where they thought they had this in the bag. And so with David and that, it was just exactly that. Like, yeah, I'll tell you everything, because I think if someone truly believes that the world is going to end and that they truly are going to become the master, like that rule stuff, like I think there's going to be a very flippant way that they start to look at stuff.
That's a good point. Yeah, and
like,
they're going to be convinced.
I mean, look at the lady in Idaho that like killed her 2 kids because she thought they were zombies and she thought God was talking to her and shit like that. Like.
Holy shit.
There's just that smugness and like the resolve in her that she did what she thought was right and that we can't judge her because only God can judge her and stuff like that. Like that's a terrifying way to look at it. Like
very true, and it came off terrifying.
Looking at the worldview of like you're right, you're so right and confident in what you've done, and you don't realize like the fucked up nature of how you've done things. I just, to me that's a very scary thing. Like I as much as I love like shitty gory horror movies and stuff like that, that kind of stuff to me is like what really creeps me out is like the fanaticism that people have towards causes and their willingness to do whatever it takes to get it done. And since it's like, yeah, just looking at all the cults that have like Jonestown and Heaven's Gate and all that stuff, like that's terrifying to me.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, totally. Like you're totally right. Maybe it's something we can all relate to. Maybe is just like the true deepest evils of the human race, because we're a part of that. We're it's like we're trying to be as good people, but like to know that we're capable of that much evil, and then like actually seeing it manifest like sometimes is truly terrifying, and the unknown of like you never know like who. Yeah, it's just like there's that latent small fear that like that person's near you, someone you know or maybe someone you don't know, that's like two doors away or two houses down or something, just like, damn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I just like I know that I'm going to say something that you've said before, I think on this podcast, but you're like one of your greatest fears, and I'm just going to call it out, is like it's like at night or something, and someone is looking through your window from the outside, like maybe far away, like in the trees,
terrifies me,
or like close or whatever.
Oh
but
yeah,
like,
they'd just be outside my window, period, looking in. Like that is terrifying to me.
And absolutely, I'm with you. I didn't actually, that's one of those things I didn't really think about, but absolutely, that would be, if I have an open window, no, sometimes I'm like, let me just close that real quick.
Well, where I grew up with my parents, they had a big backyard that butted up against woods. And so, like, I would always go out and, like, get water, like, in the kitchen, and you're staring out this big bay window into, like, this backyard and, like, the woods, and it's just, like, that straight, like, if you ever saw a figure just staring at you through there, like, that's, like, I can't. Even if, like, now, like, if I was where I live now, I looked out and there's someone, like, standing in the middle of the street looking at my house, it's like, I would scare the shit out of me. Like, I would make sure the doors are locked. I'd, like, try to find a baseball bat or something. Like, yeah, man, like, I don't think it's an irrational fear, but that's definitely one of the things that, like, it's unsettling to me. So
for sure, yeah.
It happens though.
So that's good. That's definitely a good side. You explored that really well in this, because that fear, that overconfidence, that absolute arrogance, like, came out really well.
That's good. I was trying. It's tough because, like, me not being a religious person and not being, like, fanatical towards a lot of stuff. I feel like I'm almost doing, like, a caricature of religious people because I don't have any, like, foundation for, like, I don't know. I've never been to church. I've never been told, like, I've been told I'm going to hell, but I've never really experienced any of that stuff in person. So I think a lot of what it is just mimicking what I've seen on TV and, like, trying to tone it down to the sense of where it's relatable, especially like with the intros. I wanted to start out sane and then just kind of ramp it up to the point where, like, you're like, oh no, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, he's talking about going to the dream world, and, like, if you know anything about the dreamland and, like, Kadath and all these places, like, they're not good people. Like, these are, like, essentially, like, slavers that, like, capture people and say, like, trade them and sell them and stuff like that. Like, they're horrible people, but he's here calling them, like, really good people and all this stuff. So
did you ever like go to when you were young, did you ever, like, your parents take you to church or anything, or did you never go to church as a kid either?
No.
Okay, gotcha.
My dad hates all religion, and so I grew up in a household. And my mom had a bad experience with religion when we were younger, so we grew up with I knew church existed, but when I was younger, I was a lot more anti-church. Like, I was very vocal, like, you're a fucking idiot, you're dumb for going to church, and I've mellowed out a lot on that now, where a lot of my stance is just like, look, if you believing in whatever you believe in makes you a better person, like, dope, right? Good for you. I don't like organized religion. I think organized religion is a sham, and it's scary to me. But I think just people believing in a higher power, like, whatever, man. Like, fucking you do you. I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me. As long as you're not a dick about it and you're trying to control other people's lives with it, do whatever you want. Whether it's, you believe Odin's real or Buddha or any of that stuff, like, have more power to it. But once you're an organized religion and you start trying to control people's lives, as we've seen here in America, that's where it really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So
I won't tangent too much, but I'll just parrot what you said. That, like, I'm a big fan of the idea of worshiping yourself, without amplifying that too much or congregate. I think the problems start to happen when you congregate or amplify. Yeah, exactly. Like, you start to control other people's lives. It's that evangelization. That it's like,
exactly.
Have a good time. Believing, in your loved ones, you can share that. But anyways, I have
So I know you grew up with more religious background than I did, so
that's what I was gonna say. So I won't call out which church it is, but I grew up in the church, so I definitely know of, like, I've seen very pious people before, and how that whole thing. So I definitely have first person experience of just, like, people can be really, really into that, and I definitely relatable for.
Yeah, it's something that I'm very protective of with my kids too. Like, we don't talk about religion with our kids. When my kids turn 18 and they want to explore it, feel free. Knock yourself out. Like, I don't want to taint them with my views and be like, no, man, that shit's all dumb and made up. Like, I don't want to say that to them. So we just try not to talk to it around them, which it can be tough and it can't be. But yeah, it's one of those things. I when they're 18 and they're old enough to make those decisions, any younger than that it feels like it's brainwashing to me, and like you're trying to indoctrinate them into all of this, and that's not cool to me. But
exactly, yeah. What was it? It was like there was a stat that was like, or it was at least a quote, which was like, "How is it that whatever 90% of people who are religious are religious for the church that they were raised in, right? Like, how can it be true that they believe irrefutably that theirs is the right church when it just happens to be the case that everyone usually sticks with the same church they were raised in? And how other way can you define that other than indoctrination, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the philosophical, like what I would appreciate, like a good parent to son or daughter talk would be like the philosophy of it, that part's wholesome. Where if you're like, yeah, this is, once they get old enough, yeah, if they're 18, you start talking about life and death, exploring that. How does that make you feel? And what does that make you think? I think like the philosophical portion of it, I think, is a really wholesome thing that can be done.
And I think it's kind of like they're learning about like Greek mythology and all this, and they're talking about the gods and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, people always have some sort of higher thing that they believe in to justify what they see. Like their brains can't comprehend it, so we magically tie it to Zeus. Well, Zeus, or Hermes runs across the sky, brings the sun to us or whatever kind of shit. So,
hell yeah.
Like we just had to make up these things to understand because we didn't understand the world at the time. So
yeah,
and we still don't. But anyways,
yeah, that was a fun little tangent.
No, that's good. So is there anything that you like looking back across all the like 3 missions now? Did you have a funner time playing as Reflex or as Draino? I know we only got like 1 mission with Draino, but was there something like you liked more playing as Reflex versus Draino or Draino versus Reflex? Like, what was your favorite parts of each character? I guess would probably be a better question.
I will say it feels good to, I'd say, have a niche and then explore that niche, just to specialize. And so far I've done like, SIGINT, basically signal intelligence. I've done scientists, like other type of science, and more of a face. And then so then the next one would be doing the character that basically others have already done, which is like more of a headstrong, militaristic sort of clinical, like precision type of.
We did have the Vulture, who kind of fell into that.
That's true. That was pretty fun. Oh man, how could I forget about the Vulture? That was great. So yeah, exactly. Like. So yeah, honestly, Acid Reflex was probably funner as a character, just because he was more of a character, wily, zany. It's really easy to play someone who's scared of everything, and that forces a lot of situations and thoughts and things to say. But it was really the part that was fun with Draino was certainly I liked playing the voice of reason a little bit, someone who was more of a face, more calm, cool, and collected. Rather than Acid Reflex, who was none of those things. Well,
I think that also fits you as like the person. Like you are very much a rational, like even-keeled human being. Like you don't really get, at least from what I've seen, you don't get like flustered or like go out like you're always even-keeled.
Yeah, thank you.
You are like the standard definition to me of like someone who is just chill and like can get along with anybody. It's like you are that person. Like you.
I appreciate it. I hide well the times I get frustrated. I definitely I can get flustered, but I'm like, no, I shouldn't feel that way. But no, yeah,
it happens to us all. But yeah, and so I think to me that watching you play Draino felt like you just being you to an extent, and like Reflex was maybe that part of you, or like you let go of that control in a sense.
Yes,
I don't know, but
definitely Reflex had more part of me too. Like, yeah, exactly. The maybe the back part of me. Yeah, I leaned into a different part of my personality, where more of like a sort of degenerate, non atypical or neuroatypical person. The neuroatypical part of me.
Yeah,
and yeah, exactly. So honestly, they both had their good things in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to say I am so happy to be playing with you. You are one of my favorite people to play with, Cody. You're also one of my favorite human beings. Like you are like genuinely a good person. And I'm glad I get to spend more time with you by doing this podcast and playing a game. There was like a good chunk there where I didn't really get to see you, but I'd always check in with Misha to make sure you're doing good. So I'm just happy to be able to hang out with you more. So,
dude, for sure. Yeah, honestly, I keep thinking like, you know, because like doing something like this, it's a little bit of work, but like that's the thing is like that's what life's about. It's like honestly, this opportunity, you know, like the fact that you've been leading this, like I'm just glad to be here. It feelings mutual. Like this is super super fucking awesome to be able to hang out and do stuff like this. So.
No, absolutely. I am excited to finally play with you during Misha's campaign as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how the group dynamic works out as it goes forward. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah. So I won't. I don't want to spoil any of the stuff that we've recorded so far. But Misha, I will say, Misha, like I said in Tyler's, Misha's doing an excellent job. I would have never known this was her first time DMing going into it. She's absolutely killing it. I plan on telling her that when she's here as well. But
that's totally true. Yeah, exactly. She's you know, as you know, she's over preparing, leaning towards over prepared rather than under prepared, which is not. It's like certainly not sustainable. It's a lot of effort, but yeah, that way I actually think she's succeeding, and I can't wait. Yeah, to find out more. Yeah. What's happening.
No, absolutely. And I'm excited when we sit down and start recording Traveler to see what you're going to create and how you're going to play out with that.
Yeah,
so
totally.
We got a lot. It's going to be fun. So, I think that's all I got for you. So I'll let you go and continue the rest of whatever day you got going on. So thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.